For 75 years, Argonne National Laboratory has accelerated the science and technology that drive U.S. security and prosperity. To celebrate, we're capturing the stories of the people who've made it happen. This is Argonne Voices. Mary Kay is a lead operator and PA announcer known as the Voice of Argonne. Michael defends the lab's computers against cyberattacks. Their jobs couldn't be more different, but as mother and son, they're in this together. Here are Michael and Mary Kay Skwarek reflecting on life as an Argonne family.
Hi, I'm Mary Kay Skwarek, and I've been with Argonne for 21 years. In the year 2000, I did start full-time at Argonne, and my title was a backup operator. After about a year, I became the lead operator, and I then began doing the site-wide announcements, working with the CSS machine, which is the central surveillance. I did 911s. They then sort of tagged me the Argonne Voice. Michael had already been at Argonne when I started in 2000. And shortly after I started, my younger son, Brian, began working in the DIS division. And with that, I'll turn it over to Michael and have him introduce himself.
So I'm Mike Skwarek. I've been at the lab since 1996. I'm the Deputy Chief Information Officer and the Chief Information Security Officer at the lab. Met my wife there around the 1999 range. She was in public affairs at the time, and she now works over at the Advanced Photon Source. So when you look up in the address book, you will find 4 Skwareks, and yes, they're all family. I've had a number of folks, of course, throughout the years, is that your mom or is that your wife? Does your son work here? So no, my son does not work at the lab yet, but it's quite interesting. The lab itself feels like family. And so to be able to have part of your family, your close family, be at the same place that you work is absolutely a bonus. So Mom, what is it like to be known as the Voice of Argonne?
When people would meet me and I would begin talking, they'd say, "Oh my goodness, you are the lady who comes across and says the lab will be closing early due to inclement weather, or this is a test of the site-wide notification system." And that is exactly how I came to being titled the Voice of Argonne.
Okay. No, that's interesting. Yeah. And trust me, sitting in conference rooms or in meetings and then all of a sudden having my mom's voice come across the loudspeaker is a jolt, to say the least.
What I appreciate the most is I have always worked in a building with one of my 2 sons. So if ever I thought, I wonder where they're going for lunch, maybe they'll stop and bring me something. And that was always a plus. Right now I'm in building 233 and I don't have either one of them. And so those that are at the help desk have kind of become my adopted sons. They're very kind and they'll say, "Hey, I'm going to Wendy's. Would you like a single hamburger with ketchup and mustard, or what would you like on it?" So they don't take the place of your own children, but they're doing a doggone good job of being kind and very, very sincere and a nice group of members of a team to work with.
One of the features that the lab offers is the daycare center. So when my wife and I first were married and thinking about kids, there was never a question about where we would take the kids with regards to daycare services. And so all 3 of our kids grew up at the Argonne Daycare Center. So at some point in time, every Skwarek, the 4 adults and the 3 kids, were all at the Argonne campus at one point in time. So today, with 2 high schoolers and a soon-to-be 8th grader, science is one of the things that they've just grown up with because they've either heard, both my wife and I talk about it in the house, but also they just have a deep interest. And I would strongly encourage them both either as a co-op student or, as a full-time position to consider the lab as an opportunity. So it'll definitely be interesting. And I think a smile on my face if one day I do see them come through the gate as a co-op student or as a full-time person. I would be proud.
Oh, that would be very nice. I'm sure that they'll say, "Oh, that's my grandma," and be proud. My 4 grandchildren mean the world to me. And to know that one day they might be at Argonne would make me a very happy grandmother.
There's not many folks that actually get to work with their family, and especially their mom. My coworkers still refer to her as Mrs. Skwarek. They don't call her Mary Kay, and she's touched all of them. in some way or another, whether that be through bake sales that she's taken part in or raffles or whatever else it may be. She's always the first one to jump at it and make sure that she feels that they feel welcomed. And so that voice that you hear when you call the operator line, that's my mom. That's really kind of cool. There's not many folks that can actually say something like that. And I'm proud of that too. All right, Mom. So thanks for a conversation around the kitchen table about our time at the lab. It was fun.
Thank you, Michael, for making me proud. And I am just so very, very blessed. Beautiful family and beautiful friends. And thank you.
Argonne Voices is an oral history project, recording the stories behind decades of world-changing science at the laboratory. To learn more about Argonne's 75th anniversary, visit anl.gov.